Hi, this is Dr. Abdul, Physiotherapist. Welcome to my channel. Is there a demand of physiotherapists in New Zealand? Let's talk about that in this video. Physiotherapists are in great demand in New Zealand, yes, because of the growing number of aging population, and of course it's also high in demand in other areas too, like musculoskeletal to cardiovascular to neurological conditions, etc. Though the number of physiotherapy graduates will increase due to a WinTech course that has started in 2019 in New Zealand, but sources say that the physiotherapy demand will still be high due to its shortage. As a result, physiotherapist appears on Immigration New Zealand's long-term skill shortage list. This means that the government is actively encouraging skilled physiotherapists from overseas to work in New Zealand. According to District Health Board and PSA in New Zealand, the salary of physiotherapy of a junior physiotherapist usually ranges around $60,000 to $90,000 annually, whereas a senior physiotherapist earns about $90,000 to $120,000 annually. And you know the fact that being registered as physiotherapist in New Zealand can give you access to work as physiotherapist in Australia too. Isn't that great idea to jumpstart a career in physiotherapy in New Zealand? Okay, don't worry. I tell you how you can start a career as a physiotherapist in New Zealand. Okay, seeking to work in New Zealand isn't simple. You need to be licensed by the Physiotherapy Board of New Zealand. This could be quite a lengthy process, so you need to be prepared. The board expects you to meet the requirement in three major areas. Number one, your qualification and physiotherapy practice experience should meet the current board criteria of New Zealand. The curriculum studied by person who gained their primary physiotherapy qualification overseas must be sufficiently similar in theory and practice to the physiotherapy curricula undertaken by undergraduates in New Zealand over a minimum of 4 years full-time academic study. How do you know if your physiotherapy program is sufficiently similar to the physiotherapy program in New Zealand? Does your curriculum meet all the criteria? To know the answers, please access the PDF file through this link. You can also check out this link from video description. Okay, what are the options if your physiotherapy program is not sufficiently similar to the New Zealand physiotherapy program? Option A. Your work history should include being registered and working in a country that does have a sufficiently similar physiotherapy program and has a similar healthcare system to New Zealand. That's an option A. Or option B. You have undertaken a postgraduate physiotherapy qualification that should include supervised clinical practice experience in a country that has sufficient similar physiotherapy program and a similar healthcare system to New Zealand. That's option B. Currently, the countries identified as having the most similar physiotherapy programs to New Zealand includes Australia, Canada, Ireland, South Africa, and United Kingdom. So these are the countries which is having the most similar physiotherapy program compared to New Zealand. The New Zealand board assesses applications individually. So even if you do meet the criteria described in option A or option B, registration may not be guaranteed. Now let us see the requirement number 2. Among the three requirements that the New Zealand board expect the physiotherapists, overseas physiotherapists to practice in New Zealand. So the requirement number 2 is you should meet current board English language requirements. What is it? It is nothing but you should have the English language as your first language. Okay, and your program of physiotherapy or physiotherapy course where you have studied should be undertaken and examined in English language. then you have met the board's English language criteria. If not, you should do IELTS. In short, we also call it as IELTS, or OET, Occupational English Test. You have to pass. Now, the lastly, requirement number 3 that the board expects you to have to practice in New Zealand, and that is nothing but you should meet the board criteria for recency of practice. What is that? Let us see. To meet the board's recency of practice criteria, you must be able to answer yes to at least one of these questions. Question number 1. Did you graduate from your primary physiotherapy qualification within the 3 years prior to the date of application for registration in New Zealand? That's a question number 1. Question number 2. Have you worked as a practicing physiotherapist, whether full-time or part-time, for any period of time during the 3 years immediately prior to the date of application for registration in New Zealand? That's the question number 2. Question number 3. Are you able to provide evidence of successful completion of a formal course of university level physiotherapy study undertaken during the 3 years immediately prior to submitting your application for registration in New Zealand? And this physiotherapy course of study is in addition to your primary physiotherapy qualification and must include clinical practice experience. That is a graduate diploma, a postgraduate diploma, or a master's with a clinical component is must. So that's a third question. Okay, beside this, you also need to know about the application format and the application fee, which is something around 1800 New Zealand dollar, and it is not refundable. Application format consists of an application pack which consists of following forms, and beside that you have the application guidance notes. Make sure you read all the statements, all the terms and conditions in the application guidance notes, and to follow the filling of the application forms. So first is of course application form. Another one is the Treaty of Waitangi, which consists of reference report and cultural competency, reflective statement. You have threshold template, you have threshold template information sheet, then you have curriculum vitae template, then you have reflective statement template and supportive evidence information sheet. You have validation of work history form, then you have the confirmation of fitness to practice form. So these are the forms you have to fill in and as an application pack. Extra points to note before registering as a physiotherapist in New Zealand. The application process takes an average of 2 to 3 months. Physiotherapists licensed to practice in Australia are entitled to seek registration in New Zealand under the Trans-Tasman Mutual Recognition Act 1997. You must have an overall IELTS score of 7.5 with no less than 7 in each band. Your documents need to be notarized or certified before submission. If you seek clinical placement, internship or work experience as part of your physiotherapy qualifications, you must arrange this through one of the School of Physiotherapy in New Zealand. If you're ready to take on the New Zealand challenges to get a license as a physiotherapy, do start right now and you will be there in your dream country practicing physiotherapy in the New Zealand. All the best. That marks the end of this video. This topic will meet in next another video. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you. Follow me at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and for any business related enquiry, contact me at dr.abdul.pt@gmail.com.